funding is about $78.40 per student. The cost of education for a student with an IEP is anywhere on average between $3,500 to $7,500 additional cost. And we have almost 25% of our student body in this district with special education needs. Any questions?
I have a few.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the materials or people that were trained prior to, now this is something that you want to re-implement, but what happened beforehand? Why was it dismantled, or are there any materials left that we can still utilize versus, I mean, I understand that it's from the ERA fund, but it seems like a significant amount of money.
I don't know if really any of us can answer the question sitting here saying why it was dismantled. We're not sure why we weren't privy to that information, why it was dismantled. As far as materials and such, there's not too many materials, and I'm sure that the ones that we can...
Binders. One big binder, that's all. And that was a facilitator. Everybody would have their own binder, and I'm sure they kept those.
Because they, you know, part of the model, once it was presented and staff was using it, became embedded. So a lot of teachers, they still have some of the strategies that they use them. It's just hard to do it without having the extra time to meet and have. A lot of them used to meet together before school hours. I mean, they'd be there at 7 a.m. and they'd be meeting once a week. Or I think some schools may have done after school, but I mean, so all of that was taken away as well. So it was hard for them, even though there were some strategies that the teacher, general education teacher, could use in the classroom, they couldn't necessarily continue with all of the collaborations that made it more difficult. Do they meet on their own in the staff lounge during lunch and things like that and talk? Absolutely. But also a lot of the staff that was trained, especially for facilitators and the lead people, they are gone, whether they retired or resigned for whatever reasons.
And a lot of the materials for the testing stuff, you use the classroom too. So what's in the classroom, same classroom, same students design the
Materials are not that many, because it's not a program, it's a philosophy, it's a way of doing things. So you don't have a program material. The lead person has a big binder.
What are most of the expenses related to?
Training. Yes.
So is it per person or per
building?
Per pupil?
Per building.
Per building?
Per building. And then the second year, the cost goes down to $4,500 per building.
Okay, I see it.
And then that third year, it's $1,000 per building, which Mrs. Riley at the ISD says the county picks that cost up.
So how is the training done? Is it done at the building or?
At the ISD.
It's at the ISD.
Yeah.
So people from the building go to the ISD.
Yes. Now that second year, I believe, they come in, they come into this, how does that work the second
They
year?
do a lot of different things. They do go into the buildings, you know, just to work with the teachers and the facilitators, and technical assistants to help you evaluate. It's always training. I mean, it's just, they go in, sit down, maybe look at your kids, talk to you about your kids, and then just work with teachers and provide facility strategies. And so it's ongoing training. It's just ongoing new information. Someone may be doing something different that works, and then we just want to see how it works, things like with our kids. So it's just ongoing. There's never an end to it. It's an embedded activity.
And the other thing about it too is that there is a web-based way of collecting this data as the teachers and the teams are working with kids or classrooms how to collect that data so that in case it does need to go to a special education evaluation, we have data that says we have done these things that really truly help. I think for the most part, kids their achievement increases, there's an improvement, but there are some kids who may require the support of special education. So that's a requirement by the new IDA in terms of before going to evaluation, is proving through scientific ways that what you have done to improve the achievement of kids.
We actually had a response to intervention in place, in Little Run, before state mandate, federal mandate that said that you need to have it. We had it.
Yeah.
Just want to bring it back, it works.
So I have a question. How is the team selected and the qualifications for the people that's going to be on the team?
Good question. Our teams are selected by volunteers, and we have been having, since I've been the new administrator of special education, monthly staff meetings. And that's, teachers, psychologists, social workers, speech language paths, sometimes administrators, and everyone is volunteer. I mean, they want to, who volunteers to be part of this, and everybody step forward. And so now it's going to be a matter of just kind of, realistically, who's going to be a facilitator and who's going to be a buddy or an assistant to that facilitator. But the teams are going to be comprised of everyone, pretty much everyone in the school building that was listed in that little circle, from the administrator to the psychologist to the special education teacher.
And is there going to be I guess I got this two questions. Number one, when it started, is there going to be communication with the superintendent or the head of that to make sure that it continues to go? Okay, does it so it don't fall by the wayside? And number two is, what are the expectations for the team and also for the kids?
Ms. Lusiski is definitely, and myself, and every teacher here is not going to allow this to fall by the wayside. How it felt is a good question. What happened?
And I guess that's my apprehension, because we've had a lot of fantastic ideas since I've been on the board that have come and gone. And we need something that's going to be sustained once it's implemented, because if you keep giving this, try this year, try this next year, try this the next year, how's that benefit our students? They continue to fall by the wayside.
And I guess kind of help what she's saying is, are we going to have to follow up on the follow-up? See what I'm saying? Make sure
Checking the fidelity of what we're doing, what we said we're going to do, we're going to continue to follow through.
Right. The students are supposed to remain till 8 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock we will typically break lunch. So to not interrupt anyone.
Yes, Mr. Gossett.
I can tell you that the teachers want this back. We did not want to drop this, we did not want this taken away from us. We want this back.
Can I say that, and I'm going to say, I was there when we were told we could not do it anymore, because the last time we were allowed to do it, I was starting to be one of the team leaders. We were told it is over, and that was by the former special ed director. She said absolutely not, and we had to stop, not have any more meetings. Before school, after school, ICT was over. That's the only reason ICT stopped, is because we were directed by the special ed director to stop it.
She didn't understand it,
She didn't
so
want
it
it.
didn't make sense.
No, she
And that
understood it,
didn't
she
make
just
sense
didn't
to
want it.
Many of us.
I'm just telling the truth. She stopped it. Nobody else stopped it.
It didn't just fall by the
It
wayside.
didn't fall by the wayside.
All right, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We have
Okay.
been
Okay.
forced this
Okay.
ever since, because we know how powerful it is, and we know that without it, we are cheating our students. Without having something in place, not everybody in Willow Run is special ed. In fact, we have too many special ed students. Many children have learning problems. It doesn't mean you're special ed. There are few that are truly special ed. Why waste my time doing 5, 10, 15 referrals and telling parents your child doesn't qualify, and then not having the support system in place? The teachers absolutely wanted it. We were told to stop.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
On the cost analysis, it says this can vary from district to district depending on the pay scale or the staff involved. Could we